Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nick Files. I'm your host, Nick Mulay. Today is going to be kind of interesting day involving slideshows. I'm not really sure how else to describe it, but fortunately, we're finally getting back to doing part two of Athens, Ohio. And I got to say this right now. If you didn't see the announcement earlier today, we got quite a very long way to go. So this next couple episodes will be focusing on this particular town because there are just so many locations to present, both haunted and historical. Just before I get started with that, though, I'm going to say hello to a couple of people. Hello, April. Good to see you. What's up, Eric? Good to have you here. So the way how this is going to work is, and I just realized I didn't even have the slideshow ready, but it'll just only take a second. However, just before we get started, getting back on track with Athens, Ohio, I actually do have a little bit of the slideshow from Pennhurst State School and Hospital left, which was focusing on the ghost stories this time. We only got through the history portion, but we never got to the ghost story section. And this should only probably take maybe about 10 minutes at maybe 15 at the most. So because it's only going to take a few minutes, I didn't design this episode to be part 3 of Pennhurst, because if it was, it would have lasted for the majority of the episode. So we're just going to wrap up quickly with Pennhurst just right before we continue on from where we left off with Athens, Ohio. And if you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, we were focusing on the Ridges in Athens, which was the first location in Athens I wanted to present. And that one too won't even take as long because there's actually a video involved with that too, which is investigation footage. So why don't we get started with wrapping up Pennhurst quickly. As always, I always have to check to make sure the slideshow is actually showing while I'm doing this. So bear with me for just a moment. And also, while I'm getting this ready, I do apologize. I was a couple minutes late, later than usual to start. I had to take care of something really quickly before I got on here, but better late than never. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so to wrap up quickly on Pennhurst, as quickly as possible, we were gonna, like I said, we focused on the history of the location first. Now we're gonna focus on the ghost stories. So just to finish things up with this. So as far as what Pennhurst State School and Hospital are like today, modern day caretakers of the property believe that the buildings and underground tunnels are haunted by the angry spirits of patients who suffered and died here. Naturally, as with such institution with a sordid history of human suffering, violence, and death, Pennhurst is not without its share of ghostly tales. The number of patients who died at Pennhurst is unknown, but the energy of the patients and the frustration of the staff is absorbed inside the building walls, which is no wonder it's so haunted. Pennhurst is allegedly so haunted, in fact, that its paranormal presences have spawned a spectral cottage industry, ghost hunting on the grounds of the old asylum. Some buildings, of course, which is typical of places like this, can no longer be accessed simply because the construction is dangerous. But there have been investigations, well, and not to mention, of course, asbestos, and also, considering that some of these buildings have rotted away to the present day, but there have been investigations in the past. So to go through quickly each of the buildings throughout Pennhurst, we're going to start off with the Mayflower building, which is also known as the King. It's the well, actually, no, I'm sorry. There's actually an entity known as the King, which is the nickname for an unfriendly entity who is believed to be the ghost of a maintenance man who worked at Pennhurst during the 40s or 50s. His domain is the boiler room in the basement of the Mayflower building. He manifests himself as a shadowy figure, but he has plenty of energy to touch or even choke people, which obviously shows this is a relatively negative entity. In addition, cigar smoke is a common scent when he appears. When one goes down to the boiler room, they'll see many cigarettes on the floor. They are presented to him as trigger objects. They'll keep him happy for a few minutes, but his attitude towards visitors changes within the blink of an eye. He does, of course, such entities like this. He does seem to like female visitors, and if one's lucky, he'll give them answers to all questions asked. Sorry, didn't really get a lot of water in earlier. But apparently, as typical again as types of certain entities, if they tell them to leave, best thing to do is probably leave. Not surprisingly, investigators sometimes label him as a poltergeist, and of course, others sometimes as a demonic entity. Which, after hearing this story several times, I do not believe he's a demonic entity, as some people claim he is. Because if this was someone who actually lived and worked, in the building back in its operating days, then yeah, it's definitely not a demonic entity. Even if he has a very creepy laugh as well. Some even say, of course, in addition, some even say a female spirit is with him in the same room, and she tries to warn people, telling them to run. Which obviously he doesn't like her because he keeps talking right through her. Wait. She keeps okay. Okay, I don't know if that's a mistype or obviously doesn't like her because he keeps talking right through her. I'll have to go back and find that. Oh, whoops, this didn't even get it. Hang on 1 second here. This wasn't supposed to happen. What's up, Natalie? Good to have you on here. Hello, Nigel. I don't know why, but apparently this never got its slide. So give me 1 second here. I don't know what happened, but we will get this fixed right away. Hang on. I always hate when these hidden mistakes occur. Okay, here we go. All right. All right, let's get through this once again. Hang on. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's try that again. Okay, here we go. So, moving forward, the Mayflower building is not just haunted by the king, which is not surprising. I'm sure there are other entities that are said to haunt this particular building, as this building does have 3 floors in a basement. When one enters the building, they'll see plenty of course satanic symbols all over the walls, which is certainly not unusual for any type of abandoned buildings. But according to the guides, people have broken into the facility when it was left abandoned to perform rituals that might have opened portals. People who visit the Mayflower building can be overwhelmed by feelings of dread and sadness. One of the spirits more pronounced is that of the nurse. This woman wears a white uniform and usually resides on the second floor. Investigation tools such as cameras and other paranormal equipment is known to malfunction in the building. And apart from the noises of slamming doors, footsteps, and the sounds of a person vomiting, there is the creepy music box music. That music seems to be coming from everywhere, but nobody has been able to locate the music box itself. Disembodied voices telling people to go away are frequent here too. People have heard phrases such as I'll kill you, we're upset, and I'm scared. Shadow people have also been seen multiple times, and people have been touched in this building. Now to the next building, we're going to head next to the Quaker building. Even in abandonments, Quaker is still one of the most terrifying buildings of all. Numerous shadows manifest and dissipate at will. These shadows include what appeared to be the apparition of a small female child with long black hair, a hunched over presence with long dangling arms, and the upper portion of her body looking over or around obstacles. Doors, in addition, of course, doors and a rocking chair have moved without anyone being near them. People have been shoved from behind hard enough on a stairway to leave a deep red mark on the uh, on the small. I don't think that's supposed to be right. Leave a deep red mark on their back. Let's just say that for now. They've also been, there's some mistypes right over here. They've also been scratched on the arm by an unknown object when they were not by anything or close to any walls. Of course, as again, some people will say, a demonic entity is said to cause the injuries. Objects have even been propelled in the basement, such as a pry bar, some sort of brass fixture, and various other unknown objects thrown at people. Of course, again, typical of such locations, multiple EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, as well as EMF spikes throughout the building when there is no electric supplied to any building there. Okay, now to the next one is the Limerick building, if I'm saying that correctly. Inside the Limerick building, people have reported seeing the apparition of a woman, another woman in old style nurse's uniform, along with multiple EVPs. Then, of course, the Devon building, unknown sounds and multiple EVPs have been recorded. The Tincombe building, again, multiple EVPs have been recorded there, and people have had their legs touched by an unknown force. These stories are a little bit short. The other buildings, obviously, as you could tell, have a lot more shorter details than the first two did. And then focusing next on the Philadelphia building, loud sounds and voices heard coming from the building in spite that no one is in the building when these sounds have been heard, nor could they have fled without being observed. Right now we got the administration building, multiple voices at various times and EVPs caught of what appears to be of a toilet flushing, which is strange enough because this building has no running water or bathroom fixtures. This building right here, the Hershey building, which as you can see very clearly, it's definitely it's basically almost down to its final days. I mean, I'm actually surprised they still have this building up. I've heard that they haven't really torn it down, but as you can see, out of all the buildings, this one is in very, very bad condition. I mean, you can clearly see here that the roof is like pretty much gone. But in spite of its very dilapidated and very rotten appearance, it still has its own share of activity in which a female child's voice has been heard on the third floor. That is, if the third floor even exists anymore. I mean, it's just gone. And then this room in particular is a little bit strange. I know some people are wondering what, in fact, room this is, but this was actually a room that was called Candyland, which I never really got a lot of information of why they called it Candyland, but I assume most likely it was probably for many of the child patients that were admitted into Penhurst. But because of that reason, children's voices are still heard in what many refer to as Candyland. Oh, geez, this is once again, I forgot to add the animation to this. So some witnesses have seen the spirit of a little girl roaming the buildings. Now, this just focuses on just about probably all of the buildings, if you will. So obviously you have this little girl roaming the buildings, as well as in one of the windows, perhaps waiting to tell her story of sorrow and neglect. Some visitors claim to hear voices, shrieks, and murmurs of pain from former residents and inmates of the facility. The hauntings are terrifying for multiple reasons. Aside from the typical fear of the paranormal, the ghosts of Penhurst serve as a collective reminder of just how cruel society can be towards its own members. And I think that's quite a good example, you know, as such a I mean, with a location like this as such. Now, it's been a while since I've really shown like a lot of like any type of paranormal images of some sort. I really had to go online to see if I could find anything interesting that would be appropriate to add onto the slideshow. So, obviously, I definitely want your opinions. Let me know what you guys think. But I actually did find at least 4 different photos of some type of entity or activity going on inside the building. For the most part, I wasn't really able to find the dates of all of them or exactly where these were filmed. But of course, if any of you guys have been there before, I'm sure some of these areas might be recognizable. So obviously, we got this one here that looks nothing more than a cloud of smoke. But I was, after reading the description, the person that took this photo said that nobody was smoking during that time. It wasn't foggy out. It was definitely not any type of condensation, so they weren't really able to explain exactly where this fog very much came from. And the other photo here, this one's actually a lot more interesting. This was taken, I think it was back in 2013 or 14. I'm not entirely sure, but you can clearly see what looks like a figure. But I will say this, perhaps the most unusual thing about this image is there's definitely some kind of figure, but it literally looks like all you just see are the legs and nothing else. It's I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of too much. The only thing I could debunk, maybe if this was like an actual apparition of some sort, is that I thought maybe my first thought was maybe it was one of those type of whatever you call those type of ladders. But you can clearly see it's too narrow to be the ladder. It's not as tall. I mean, it's not. Well, I know those ladders, kind of go on in different sizes, but that was my first impression when I first saw. But now that you can kind of see that there's actually like what apparently looks like shoes of some sort. I have no idea. Of course, the only other idea I could think of if I had to debunk it was if someone just walked really quickly and they just mistaken it. But it's an interesting photo either way. Okay, and I got 2 other pictures, so let me know what you guys think. Now, these photos, I don't know if these were. I don't think they were taken by the same group. If I'm correct, this might have been on 2 separate occasions. But you could see, obviously, I'm not sure again which buildings that these were taken in, but you can clearly see you got a room here with a crib. And my first thought was that all I was just seeing was just the remains of a curtain right here. And indeed there is. But right around here, there's at least only partially, you could just see what, I don't know if it's a head or something, but actually just hovering over where the crib is. And this one here on the opposite side, very similar to the first one, you could see there's something peeking out from one of the, I don't know if that's a doorway right there or something peeking out, obviously, in one of the hallways. These were taken, these I think were taken about a year or 2 later, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong with the dates. I could have sworn that this one was taken back in 2014, but I could be wrong. We see what you guys are saying in the comments so I can see what your opinions are. What's up, Charles? Good to see you. Hello, Rita. Yeah, I thought I was hoping that somebody was going to say something about the photos, but either way, these photos are relatively interesting. The way how with whatever's in them that was taken at Penhurst. So at this point, I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm not really sure you know, these are legit, obviously, but they are definitely interesting. So definitely give me your opinions. All right. So to finally, we're just about to end things, but just before we get off with Pennhurst, I also have, I believe, yeah, two different videos. Now this was actually, I know Pennhurst has been on several of the paranormal shows over the years, but surprisingly, there was only like a few actual like just individual investigations videos that I was able to find. And the ones that I did find, they lasted like each of them literally lasted for like 45 minutes to an hour, which understandably we definitely would not have time to show it. But I was able to find one piece of footage which was split into two parts. And even more amazingly, this was actually filmed back in 2008. This was even before, you know, Ghost Adventures or any of the other paranormal shows ever arrived. And it was the only type of like individual paranormal footage I was able to really find that was really short. I was really surprised I didn't find any more videos of investigations at Pennhurst where they were a lot shorter. And so this was the only one that I found. I think they're, because the footage is a little bit older compared to other previous footages I've shown, as far as investigation footage. I don't know if there's really a lot of sound to this one, but it does have a good picture quality. Okay. Yeah, so this was it was filmed by two college students. Yep, it was before Pennhurst became even known to everybody in the paranormal field. Yeah, and they say the students' whereabouts remain unknown. And you could see, of course, even by then, and this was only about like 20 years after when Pennhurst had closed. So you can clearly see that it's already still in relatively bad shape. Listen listen carefully and let me know if you guys hear anything that I may have missed. Let's see how long these are. Yeah, each of these videos, by the way, are no more than 8 minutes each.
Where, over here? I'm in the. Oh yeah. Do that again.
Is that a gurney? Yeah, it is.
It's one of the tunnels. Ooh. It is scary down here. Yeah, but it'll eat up the battery. We don't have a flashlight, do we? Yeah, it's...
Thought I heard a. Did you guys hear that? I thought I heard some whisper.
Wish we had a flashlight. Hold on. Go ahead in. What's that, a toaster?
Wow.
Trash can. Another typewriter.
They're all in this one over here. I think they were in mine.
Don't look down there. Somebody's been partying in here. Definitely. All the typewriters. Some more typewriters.
Wow, an old typewriter.
Yep, got all the work we've done today. Check this out. Oh, I think it's a TV.
Wow.
I don't know what it is.
Makes me wonder if those artifacts are even still in the building.
Did you just trip? There's one lowly wheelchair. I'm surprised that thing just doesn't fall apart. Like, there it goes.
Yeah, I think about falling to the floor.
Those old video cameras. Jeez. Not a single iPhone being in use. Wouldn't necessarily see these kids are like paranormal investigating. It's more or less like urban exploring. Just the way how I'm kind of seeing it. All right, so that was part one. There's one, I think that's, oh, yeah, there's one more. I don't think this is going to be as long as the first one. This one's, okay, it is actually about the same duration. So bear with me for just another 7-8 minutes. And That will conclude. This will conclude slideshow of Penhurst, and we can get right to the next one.
Ooh. It's kind of dark up there. We don't have a flashlight. Is this the attic?
What that music was, if that was coming from like one of them or Income building.
All right. Huh?
For myself.
What's in here?
Man, it's all in really bad shape.
Jess. Mm. The basement.
What's up, Lauren? Yeah, I noticed that too, Charles. It was very your if you heard that, it sounded like a piano, a piano key of some sort. I don't know where that came from.
Jessica.
Okay, we know it's one of those kids.
Jessica.
This was probably back when Penhurst was off limits to anyone at that time. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could be wrong. Here's the Quaker building.
Got the couch sitting right there, chilling already.
Wow. Well, it's all in pretty rough, bad shape, though.
Supposed to be in a lounge.
This must have been like one of the recreation areas for the patients.
These look like offices. Yes.
Oh, yep, there's some of that satanic graffiti.
G is for giraffe.
You know, what the hell was that? You guys heard that? Go back for a second. I mean, maybe it was just a bird, but let's go back after this part. Oh, you know what? No, that I can debunk that. That noise is okay. Yeah, that sounds like it's coming from outside. Yep. Another pentagram right there. There's the Quaker building. All right, that's officially the end of that footage. I mean, I wasn't able to get too much, but it was definitely interesting to see pretty much not necessarily an investigation, but one of the earliest visits to Penhurst. And that officially concludes the slideshow to Penhurst. So, with that being said, we could finally get right to Athens, Ohio at last, part two. And I do actually have another video to present from the last location I was talking about. Let's see. Hey, Kelly, good to see you. I'm doing great. Kelly, so we're actually about to get started with another slideshow that I have ready to go. I was just wrapping up from Penhurst because we never really got to the ghost stories as well as the investigation footage from 2 weeks ago. So I wanted to wrap things up right before we got to part two of Athens, Ohio. What's going on, Eddie? Good to see you. Hey, 12 had a big loud noise upstairs. It was a big tapping noise on the side, and suddenly it was freezing cold. Wow. Sounds like you got some type of activity going on over there, Kelly. What's up, Rachel? Every time that sound comes up, my cats look. That's funny. Okay, so bear with me for just a moment. Let me get the So this is actually, ironically enough, this next slideshow that I'm going to be presenting, which actually is again also a video because we never finished up. It was, if you guys remember when we were talking about the, like I said, the Athens Lunatic Asylum, the Ridges, AKA the Ridges, there was actually investigation footage to this one too that we never really had a chance to look at because it was around that time. That was when I was requested. That's when I was requested to make a slideshow for Pennhurst. So we never got to go through with it. So this one too, we're actually going to be wrapping up on, but I promise you though, I have a few other slideshows that I'm going to be presenting right afterwards. They are shorter than some of the others I've previously shown, but it should be enough to cover for a good portion of the hour. So let me get the let me go through this fun thing all over again. So obviously, I know we're right at the end of also the Ridges presentation, but as far as I'm concerned, what I'm going to show next, this next video of the Ridges, this is actually the only paranormal investigation footage I ever found involving the Athens Lunatic Asylum. So it's going to just give a little bit of it. It actually does give a little bit of a credit intro to it, so that hopefully, if you guys have forgotten a little bit about this place from a few weeks ago, this hopefully should refresh your memories. So, but it'll get right to the investigation footage immediately. So here we go. It's actually a little documentary of itself. Okay, it's actually about 20 minutes, but like I said, that should be enough time to really cover most of the hour, because like I said, the other slideshows are going to be relatively short. So showing these videos is perfectly fine, because that way it saves me a lot of trouble from ending the show early. So here we go.
The Ridges, formerly called the Athens Asylum for the Insane, was a mental hospital operated in Athens, Ohio from 1874 until 1993. During its operation, the hospital provided services to a variety of patients, including Civil War veterans, disturbed children, and violent criminals suffering from various mental disabilities. The former hospital is perhaps best known as a site of the inhumane procedures, including electroshock therapy, water treatment, and the use of experimental medications. Most notably, though, was a doctor who made frequent stops at the location to perform his infamous procedure. His name was Dr. Walter Freeman II, although everyone referred to him as Dr. Lobotomy. Dr. Freeman had no formal surgical training and wore neither gloves nor a mask during his ice pick procedures.
Jeez.
After 4 decades, Freeman had personally performed more than 3,400 lobotomy surgeries, with the inclusion of 19 minors and a 4-year-old child.
Ooh, yikes. I don't know if those are actual photos or footage of
people buried
from the asylum, but that's gruesome.
Grounds. Of those, 700 women and 959 men lay under headstones that are marked only with a number.
Right now, my heart is pounding through my chest, and we're not even inside yet, so let's see what happens when we go in.
How they were able to gain access into this building.
The lead paint is just chipping right off the walls. If you touch the walls, it like falls off like glass. So I want to take you into one of these rooms real quick. The architect of this building, Levi Schofield, designed it to house a maximum of 2 people per room. If you come in this room, you can see how small it is. The unfortunate thing that happened was this building was severely overcrowded. 4 people housed in a room like this. I don't think this room is bigger than 10 by 8 feet. I could imagine it would make me crazy in itself just to be in a room with 3 other crazy people in that close of proximity. Couldn't imagine it. So this room I'm standing in is what would be typically known as one of the leisure areas for the residents in the insane asylum. You can picture tables set up and residents sitting around in this room, chess and checkers, listening to old music, trying to pass the time as they look through the bar windows. This place is definitely giving me the creeps. Where I just walk around, I can just feel like electricity. It's really weird.
It's one of those places that you feel odd just walking up to it.
So we've been in here about 30 minutes, and this place is definitely creeping us out. I'm almost like shaking. We're in this area that we've determined is the solitary confinement area. These rooms behind me are the solitary rooms. We're going to go in and do a little bit of a Echo Box session in here to see if we can get some responses, because we both feel kind of creeped out in this hallway. Let's do it.
As you can see, this room has no windows, no way to get out of it. It's pretty much all boarded up with some little holes drilled through boards to maybe allow just a little bit of light in or a little eyeball look out. Very, very chilling feeling in this room.
Yeah, it's just, you can tell, just there's a bad feeling to like stay here after this place shut down. Because I walk in here and I can just feel like energy. It's like radiating. It's making my hands like shake almost.
Yeah. Let's set up.
Now, I've actually used the Echo Box myself. I have it on my phone.
Are you angry that we're here right now? What is my name? What's my brother's name? Do you want us to leave?
Wow. PSB 7 Spirit Box. Okay. Of course, I don't even need to explain that one.
Can you hear me? Help? What do you need help with? You trying to get out of here? Did you hurt someone here? Your friend? What did you do to them?
That sounds more like music.
Are you looking for God? Are you looking for the white light? Wow. Dude, the heat wave just like smacked in my face. This is gonna be like the heating of our building.
Whoa, that's hot. I mean, it literally just got 40 degrees warmer. It's hot down here. Here's a washroom.
That water running or
The system is on like full blast. Just like pumped out. I wonder if they know that's gotta be like a waste of energy.
oh man.
Well, it's steam heat, so they run the heaters for everything. We are on the 3rd floor. So now we're in the annexes, and
Here's the elevator shaft.
this is a stairwell we stumbled on that's pretty interesting. You can see straight down to the basement. The
Yeah.
elevators are built like this, so I'm
Wow.
gonna take a second look at it. Scoot in here.
That
and
is
see.
bizarre.
See down in the basement, down there, there's some like desks or something that are broken up on the floor. Bathroom.
It's very creepy indeed, Rita. Wait, what? China orb. Oh yeah, I can see it. Oops, here, I'll play it again for you guys. Yep, there it is. Yeah, you can see it's right over there. And normally, I'm not a huge fan of orbs, but it's pretty large and perfectly round.
There was another building in the Ridges that was called Cottage B. That's scary.
Dude, there's like.
Should we set up the Echo Box here?
I think so, man. This place is like this room. Like when I walked in here, it was just like a different feeling. We're gonna do an Echo Box session. I'm gonna get started right now. Is everyone here with us? What's your name? Bruce.
Very likely, Warren. Yeah, I thought it was the flashlight too. You're talking about the orb, Rachel.
Did you live in this room?
I wouldn't blame you, Rita.
I heard it say no.
What? Were you in the men's or the women's side? Are you angry that we are here? Are you angry that What's your name? Flip this up too. Prison. I heard that. Is this your prison? Are you angry that we're here in your home? Did you like it here?
I'm surprised they haven't gone to the room where the stain is, where Margaret was found dead.
Damn, we're really high up. Parking lot looks like a mile down there. I've heard that there's like, I don't know if it's this area, but I've heard there's shackles. I hear like bats or something. I just heard some sort of life thing up here. Okay. Talk to the excrement. There might be might get attacked by a rabid, raccoon or something. This is a freaky area. This is kind of rough. 1874. This building is. Just watch your step, all right? Because look at the wood floor right there. See it? It all looks solid. This is a freaky spot. So, do you hear that?
Not surprised.
Hear it? It's like a raccoon or something up here. Yeah. Well, they won't bother us. We'll just test the floor before you step on it. I don't want you falling 20 feet down. Dude, this area is creeping me out. I'm not gonna lie. What the hell is this huge wooden frame here? The one you're standing on? Yeah. I don't know the size of these beams. It's got like these mountains in there. So, Leonardo DiCaprio is filming a movie called A Crowded Room, and it's a story about a patient here at the Athens Lunatic Asylum. His name was Billy Milligan, and he was said to have over 20 personalities. What the fuck was that, dude? It just sounded like some water turned on and off. Did you hear that? Yeah, dude.
Let me go back for.
That's fucking. I just heard water.
Go
turn on.
back. Let me go back for a second. It doesn't look like they're going to replay it. I'll replay it again.
His name was Billy Milligan, and he was said to have over 20 personalities. What the fuck was that, dude?
I heard it.
It just sounded like some water turned on and off.
You guys heard that, right?
Did you hear that? Yeah, dude. That's fucking. I just heard water turn on in there and off. Yeah, so back to the story. He's filming a movie about a guy named Billy Milligan. He was a patient here at the Athens Lunatic Asylum. Leonardo DiCaprio is going to play his character, in which they said he had over 20 personalities. And this place is probably going to be boarded up and locked down as soon as that movie starts filming, because there's going to be people coming from all over the country to check it out. So I'm glad we got it now before they tighten the security on it, because I don't think that this place will be open too much longer.
Okay, this like before I could respond to what you guys are saying. This on my. Let me go back to the full screen poltergeist entity of some sort.
So if you look at the walls in this place, it's clear that they didn't have any concern for human safety because there's lead paint chipping off every single wall in the building. It's probably one of the reasons why they have kept it blocked off for all these years because they don't want people coming up here getting sick. That being said,
Whoa. Let's go back for a sec. Hang on. That was I didn't see anything, but I heard something though that I could sure understand why these guys ran off. Let's play that again.
have kept it blocked off for all these years because they don't want people coming up here getting sick. That being said,
It sounds like knocking. Jeez. I don't blame these guys for running off.
let's get the fuck out of here, man. What the fuck was that?
Jeez.
Holy shit.
Oh, okay. Gonna brighten it up. Okay, good.
That being said,
What the hell? Oh, it was moving. I thought it was knocking. Hang on. Let's just look at it one final time with the Brighton footage. I did not even see it moving.
that being said,
Wow. Jeez. Okay, that actually is pretty terrifying. That's quite a terrifying moment. See, and I've been fortunate enough. I've been there too, but unfortunately, I was unable to really have a chance to actually investigate the other parts of the asylum. I want to see what it. You didn't see it? Hang on one second. Well, Rita's gonna be going in there because she has to come with us. Yeah, I know that's pretty intense, Lauren. The door, okay, yeah, the door was somewhat rattling. Yeah, you could, you know what? That's a better way you've described it, Lauren. See the door shaking like some. Rachel, if you didn't see, do you want me to play for it? Do you want me to play for it? Play it one more time for you, just so that way you can see it better. Okay. All right, then. Hang on one second. It was right around this, right at the end of the video. Okay, hang on. Let's go back. Oh, wait, hang on. I went a little bit too far.
Shit.
Okay. Watch carefully.
that being said,
See it moving? That is just, wow. It was kind of, actually by looking at it now, it was kind of somewhat moving and rattling at the same time because you could see it starting to swing back, like as if the door was trying to close. I don't know, but that is weird. I don't blame the reaction. I really don't. Now, okay. So, I thought that was actually the end of the slideshow, but I guess there's a little bit more. Let me just see what Rachel's saying. Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, you fill your pants. Yeah, it's quite some frightening footage right there. So to kind of put things to an end for the Ridges, but besides the deaths of the patients at the asylum, there are other reasons why many people believe this location to be haunted. If one looks at the Ridges, oh, and this is actually, okay, in fact, let me hide that for a sec. We're either at the very last slide or we're close to the last one. What I'm going to be presenting now is something very, very important for you guys to know something when we start going through the other slideshows of Athens, Ohio. And the Ridges actually plays a very important role and also explains why the entire town is so haunted. Now, if one looks at the Ridges, the Athens Lunatic Asylum on a map, one can draw lines connecting to 5 cemeteries that surround the town of Athens. The lines connect and make a pentagram with the asylum in the middle of the star. It's not actually directly in the center, but it's close. The Athens Lunatic, that's it right here. This dot that I'm pointing out now. It's definitely very disturbing to know that it's literally in the center of a pentagram. It is very helpful to know, tourist relief, that almost any points on a map can be connected in such a way that they create the pentagram. According to WeirdUS.com, several gravestones are arranged in a perfect circle on the hillside for no apparent reason and in no apparent order, though it's been speculated that this was a prank pulled by OU students sometime in the 1920s. The pentagram typically represents a magical type of protection for those that are in the occult, but can be used in the commissions of curses. The 5 cemeteries are Sims, Hanning, Kuckler, Higgins, and Zion. However, there are several other haunted cemeteries found dotted along the pentagram, which I think those dots actually do represent, some of them do represent some of the other cemeteries, which obviously, as you can tell, it doesn't necessarily fit the pentagram, but I mean, Athens is a very historic town, so I could understand how there's definitely more than 5 cemeteries. But whether it's true or not, a lot of people believe this is why the area is so haunted. But another reason could be due to the West Green building was built on Indian burial ground. In fact, and I probably said this before, but according to the British Society for Psychical Research, the 13th most haunted place on earth, place in the world, is Athens, Ohio itself. The cemeteries are all reportedly haunted as well, which we will be getting into shortly. Located on grassy hills surrounded by trees, each cemetery becomes quite terrifying at night. Gravestones date back to the mid-1800s, creating an old, mysterious feel to the grounds. Many sightings of ghosts have been reported at the cemeteries of the former asylum. Shadow figures running and hiding behind trees and headstones and strange lights are reported, and in one area, the grave's linear shapes form a circle, which is said to be a mecca for old witches and practitioners of all sorts of black arts who hold seances here and use it as a circle of power. It's claimed that one can also hear Native Americans chanting and music playing at night in this area. There have even been stories of students stealing headstones and becoming haunted, and there are legends that the ghosts of the patients walk through the hills at night. And that officially ends the Ridges. I know sometimes I kind of end it at that point, but there's really not very much else to tell. But that's not officially the end, though. Now, what we're going to focus on, what we're going to focus on now is the cemeteries themselves. Now, unfortunately, for some reason whatsoever, as exciting as awesome as it would have been, I'm afraid I was not able to find any historical information or even ghost stories surrounding each individual cemetery that forms the pentagram. In fact, I was really only able to do my research on 2 of the cemeteries. I did my best I tried my absolute best to try to get info for the other cemeteries, and I just could not find any info on the other 3, but the very least we got 2 of them. Just want to go quickly to the comments. You said before, I think I definitely did, Eric. So as a reminder, it's really creepy when you think of these 5 cemeteries that form this pentagram. What's going on, Kelly? Good to see you. Appreciate you tuning in. It really is. Has anyone ever gotten sample photos of this? Would be fantastic. Kelly, I actually tried looking to see if anyone had ever tried photographing, like this pentagram, but I have not found anything yet. But you know what? That would definitely be a really cool idea if someone was able to use like a drone or something and have it high enough so they could try to photograph like the entire town of Athens. But as far as I know, no one has done that yet. Okay, so let me get to the next slideshow. Hang on just 1 second. And believe me, these slideshows are actually really short. So this is actually the reason why I was glad that this is actually the reason why I'm glad I was showing a lot of this investigation footage. So let me let's see. I don't wonder why this has not been done a project for me. That would be if I ever have a chance of going back out to Athens, and either if someone has a drone or if I'm able to purchase one, that would be great. That would definitely be a good time to make a good shot to see if it really is connected. Okay, so hang on 1 second. So first, again, I'm sorry. I apologize again that I wasn't able to find info for all five. Oh, wait a minute. No, this isn't what I was looking for. Wrong page. Let's try that again. Wait a minute. Why is this still? Hang on. Yep. Okay. Something went wrong with this. Let's try this again. Here we go. All right. So this is what I was trying to get to. So onto the first cemetery of the supposed pentagram of Athens. We're going to be focusing on Sims Cemetery. So here's just quite an example. It doesn't look very much because the gravestones are relatively small, but either way, it's something. Forgot to add animation to that, dissolve animation to that. So Sims Cemetery is believed to have been named after John Sims, who was buried here with his family. He was one of the town officials and had a pronounced taste for capital punishment. Historians have stated that Sims was also the local hangman. He was known for sentencing to death by hanging people for the most common offenses, which already tells you right now, this guy definitely did have a dark past if it was like certain crimes that were not very serious. The hanging tree is located in these spooky grounds and carries a sinister past filled with shockingly evil deaths at the hand of the infamous John Sims, who unmercifully watched his frightened victims being condemned to death. He was also well known for the awful prejudices towards the freed slaves that were living in the area. Okay, so that also tells us, too, he was unfortunately a very, very hardened racist. In fact, and I'm sorry to say, the majority of people hanged by him were African Americans. Fortunately, the tree was put out of use in the 1890s, so it's no longer used, obviously, but the tree, from what I remember hearing, is that the tree is still standing to this very day where all the executions took place. So as you could very well imagine, Sims Cemetery lies in Athens, and a lot of people say that it is one of the most haunted cemeteries and locations in the world as well. It is one of the many cemeteries in the area, and it's located off of Peach Ridge Road. Indeed, some stories go so far as to say that Sims' hanging tree resides on the grounds of this cemetery, the marks on the rope still visible on its branches. There have been numerous sightings of spirits, supposed victims of Sims' hangman's noose, seen wandering around this tree. Some even report hearing the sounds of a noose tightening and of seeing ghostly figures hanging from the tree late at night when the moon casts its eerie light just perfectly onto the hillside. And then there are those who claim to have seen the ghost of John Sims himself. He is most often sighted wandering the cemetery wearing a long hooded shroud and carrying a razor-sharp sickle in hand, searching for criminals to persecute. He has been known to chase anyone he finds in the cemetery after dark by yelling, "Get out." A final story that centers on Sims Cemetery involves a witch named Mary Roberts, who is allegedly buried near the Sims family plot. It is said that this was done so the witch could curse Sims for his sins. However, the ghost of Ohio has yet to turn up any evidence of Mary Roberts having been accused of being a witch. Some people even have said that the cemetery frequently moves itself and that it changes its location in order to elude any potential visitors. There are some stories of odd lights, of shadows moving inside, and even of odd voices coming from it at night. And that's the other thing too I found out about these different cemeteries. It's not just Sims Cemetery. All 5 of these cemeteries, despite the positions that they are laid in, that is considered one of the most common reports of paranormal activity from all 5 of them. They are known to basically move in different areas, especially at night, where it happens so frequently that many ghost hunters and paranormal investigators, as well as urban explorers and legend trippers, it sometimes takes several minutes to find these cemeteries. Now, when we went ourselves, I don't know if it was Sims Cemetery. I come to think of it now, I should have even put the video that I broadcasted live back in 2016, because I did do a live video on a few of the cemeteries that were there. That would actually make a good addition for another episode, because I haven't really reviewed that footage since, so I don't know if I actually captured anything, visual or sound wise, but still definitely something interesting to check out. And I don't know. I guess we'll have to check it out ourselves at one of these days. But we never had trouble finding these cemeteries when we went up to the hillsides. So you can see how short this slideshow is. So that's basically the end. Let's see here. What do we got? Okay, I only got a few minutes left. So let's get to the comments quickly. Oh yeah, Google Maps. That's not a bad idea. Thanks, Rita. I really appreciate it. Sounds like our politicians. Yep. Rachel, I did try looking for the hanging tree. I tried looking for photographs. I could not find any pictures. And, kind of looking back now, if I was at Sims Cemetery, I kind of regret that I didn't do a lot of, I didn't really have, we went at the very last minute because it was on our way back home to Chicago. We were actually at Point Pleasant, West Virginia to go to the Mothman Festival, and Athens, Ohio was just an hour away. So I didn't really, when we got there just wasn't much time to really do a lot of research. I only knew some certain things about like the ridges and whatnot, but I wasn't able to really learn about the hanging tree. I should have done that when I had the chance. Heard this so many times, most haunted place, but any photos would again be great to see. I know. Kelly, again, another good question. I did try looking to see if John Sims was hung himself, but it did not say what his cause of death was. It just said that eventually he died, but they never even said when or where exactly he died. Yeah, Kelly, I'll try to look for those videos, but again, it will have to wait another time because I do have to get going in a few minutes. I know there is a show that's about to start right after me, and yes, always be prepared for future. Let me just check. Hang on. I think I only got like about 3 minutes left. Yeah, you know what? Here, tell you what. I got one final slideshow, which will not take long at all, so bear with me. This is on the second cemetery, and this one's even shorter than the other. So we'll make this as a good finale for today. All right, so I better make this really quick. All right, so damn it, I did it again. Hang on a second. I keep clicking on the document. All right, here we are. Okay, so let's get through this very quickly. So once again, we're going to focus on the next cemetery in next 2 minutes because it's a very short one. Next one we're going to focus on, this is the only one I was able to find, is Hanning Cemetery. And I know some areas it has two ends, but apparently based on the entrance, it has only one end to it. Whoa, geez, I don't know how that happened. Let me fix that quickly. I don't know why I didn't have the animation for that one, but let's fix that up quickly. Okay, all right. That is just weird. 3. Okay, here we go. It's really, for the most part, just one slide. As crazy as it's going to sound. All right. So now to Hanning Cemetery. And this is the other surprising thing, too, is that it doesn't show. I couldn't even really find the history on the cemetery, which was really surprising. So I was only able to really get the ghost stories out of this one. So, folk going right towards it is that, yeah, see, this actually explains why it's called Hanning. Hanning, often misspelled Hanning, is another reportedly haunted spot. Hanning Cemetery is by far one of the spookiest in the state, simply because it is home to a host of restless spirits. The ghost who has been seen here is an old man who wears a long, ratty robe. When he appears, he is usually accompanied by disembodied sounds and dizzying screams that echo into the night and are nothing short of bone-chilling. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to fix this later. According to the local lore, there has been a few productive, famous seances conducted at the cemetery, including one back to 1969, that provided strong evidence of ghosts when the padlocked gate of the cemetery unlocked and opened on its own during the proceedings. Legend says the spirit of David Tishman, an Ohio University student killed in a car accident in 1970, was contacted during a seance at the cemetery. However, there is no recorded connection between Tishman and the cemetery. During another seance that same year, the spirit of David Tishman was supposedly contacted by a group of his friends. This waymarker has several ancestors buried in the cemetery and has visited it a number of times. Never has there been even so much as an attempted contact during this visit, but maybe it was because they were scared of the several. Geez, what the hell's going on here? Okay, that was weird. Never has been there so much as an attempted contact during this visit, but maybe it was because they were scared of the several spirits noted above that reportedly haunt this cemetery. And that's it. That's how short these slideshows are. So, all right, I do have to get off here because it's already 6:04. Charles, you're very welcome. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Once again, the most haunted. I wonder if anyone has done a list on which ones are legit haunted with evidence. The amount of time I hear this is the most haunted place in the world can be overwhelming. And I certainly agree with you on that, Kelly. They say that, on several of these locations. Now, honestly, I believe Athens really has claimed that title because there's just so many haunted locations. But there are others where I'm kind of thinking, I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to say. So, honestly, I would have gone right for the next one if I wanted to. But unfortunately, I do have to get off here because one of the other shows is waiting for me to get off on one of the other networks. And I just want to say, as always, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate it. You guys tuning in, especially with all the work that I've had to put in these slideshows. Like I always say before, that in the end, I don't just do this for myself. I do this for you guys. I'm glad you guys always enjoy it. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow for both to the Grave and Back with Lois and Rosie, and then of course I'll be back as well with Supernatural Talk, and I think we're also going to be on Friday too with the Frighteners. So I'll be back on with all the other shows. So it's going to be a great week, considering that there's so much that's going on, with these locations I'm going to be presenting, considering that this was considered part 2. So guess what? We're going to have to do a part 3 of Athens, Ohio. We're going to see a lot of parts out of this because there's so many places that you guys are going to be quite amazed of what I found. Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lauren, as always, for tuning in. You have a great night. Thank you, Natalie. Have a great night as well. So until then, I'm sure I'll see some of you guys tomorrow afternoon and night for To the Grave and Back and Supernatural Talk and Friday and Frighteners. But if not, you guys are just waiting to see the next episode of Nick Files, see part 3 of Athens, Ohio, then I guess I will see some of you guys next week. You guys all have a great night, and I'll see you guys next time.